This Christmas ornament is the perfect homemade gift. It looks elegant and detailed, made with care and craftsmanship. But what the receiver doesn't know is that it's actually really easy and fast to make. And with the simple steps in this video, you can make a lot of them in a very short amount of time. So let's dive right in. I always try to look for designs that work well with this type of blank. The wood species doesn't really matter that much, but what they all have in common is that they're cut from a standard 55mm thick board. I usually buy these boards in bulk and cut them down into blanks myself. That way, you can really make a lot of ornaments and small figurines while keeping the cost down at the same time. Today, I'm using this chestnut blank. It's perfect for a Christmas ornament. Really nice warm color and not too much grain, which helps keep the design clean and elegant once we start adding details. I'll get 2 Christmas bells out of this blank. I could probably squeeze 3 out of it if I made them a bit shorter and stubbier, but today I got my mind set on these longer bells. After roughing the blank round, I just eyeball the length and basic shape of the first bell. And the nice thing about working this way is you can experiment a little on the first one and then just mirror that for the second one. I start by shaping the skirt of the bell. I don't want any really drastic curves here, but this is where you can really put your own mark on the design. You could go with a heavier curve and make it thin towards the top, or a smoother transition with just a small curve towards the rim, like I'm doing here. And if you're not quite sure yet, that's totally fine. You can come back and adjust the shape in a later step, because now it's time to make a tenon for the jaw chuck and separate the first bell. Once this one is parted off, I go straight into rough shaping the next bell. I like to use the first one as a reference, just to keep the proportions the same. From this point on, I'll only show one bell being made. The steps are exactly the same for all of them, and what I usually do is I perform each step on all the bells at the same time. That way you don't have to keep changing setups, and your hands sort of remembers the movements. They end up looking more alike, and you work faster as well. Once the bell is mounted in the jaw chuck, it's time to hollow it out. This chestnut wood is soft and really nice to work with, and the choice of material actually matters a lot when you're making many of the same thing. You don't want to struggle with every cut. Here's a good time saver. You don't actually need to hollow the bell out that deeply. When you see how I make the clapper inside the bell, it will make sense. I only go about 4 to 5 centimeters deep. That's more than enough. What matters more is the thickness of the rim. You want to remove enough material to make it look light and elegant. On the inside edge, I use a sharing cut to round it over nicely. On the outer edge, I mostly rely on sanding when finishing the bottom part and the inside of the bell. Now it's time to start working on the top of the bell. This is the last stage where you can easily adjust the bell shape, so it's best to finish as much as possible here. You can still refine the top a bit later if you have to, but this is where you want to get it mostly right. And now it's time to flip the piece. When I secure the rim of the bell in the jaw chuck, I find it really helpful to add some strips of soft velcro inside the jaws. That helps prevent marks on the rim. This isn't a grip you want to put a lot of strain on, which is why I mentioned earlier that it's best to finish as much as possible beforehand. And I'll be honest, I didn't quite follow my own advice here. Because I wanted to use as much of the blank as possible, there wasn't a lot of room between the jaws and the top, so I still have some work to do. But I have no problem cheating a little here. I just sand it instead of cutting. The wood is soft, and starting at 80 grit and working up to about 240 makes quick work of it, without putting too much stress on the piece. Now the bell itself is done, so let's make the clapper. I got this piece of sapele mahogany that I started on earlier but never finished. It complements the chestnut nicely, and is also quite soft and easy to turn. I make a small round orb at the end, and then leave the base about 7 mm thick. It's important to keep this section an even diameter, matching a drill bit you already have. You'll see why in just a minute. Once I'm happy with the shape, I sand it smooth and part it off. And now all the parts are ready. I grab a drill bit that matches the base of the clapper and drill a hole inside of the bell. You can adjust the depth as you go until the clapper sits just right inside the bell. At this point, you could glue it together and stop right here, and honestly, it looks great already. But I want to add something a little extra to mine. I'm lucky enough to have a laser that Laserpecker sent me a while ago. I use it all the time, and it's perfect for adding fine detail, even to wood-turned pieces. I'm using a rotary attachment with these small spikes. They're meant for holding rings, but they hold the bell very firmly and still very gently. I found this design on Etsy and quickly set it up in the Laserpecker app so it wraps nicely around the bell. Let's see if it works. This is still fascinating to me. It's pretty amazing that tools like these are available for hobbyists like myself. You can really take your designs in new directions with something like this. If you want to check it out, I've got a link to the machine in the description. And now for my favorite part, applying the oil finish. This is where the color deepens, the grain comes alive, and all the details really start to pop. A great looking, unique Christmas ornament, something anyone will be happy to receive, and something you can make a lot of in a very short amount of time. Thanks for watching, I hope I see you in the next one.